Shalom Rainicorns. It is Ellie the Empress here. And so today's topic is Majestic Meets Matrix, leading life with spirituality in 3D interactions, okay? So we are going to be talking about business stuff specifically, but this goes into different areas outside of entrepreneurship, okay? This, like, you can apply it as a principle versus just business versus just working at a company, at a startup, different things of that nature. So we're going to open up with some information from the hashtag New Age Investing Homeschool Kit, okay? So this entire kit contains spirituality, science, planets, astronomy, astrology, nutrition, language arts, creative writing, math, investing, social studies, and then you have the conclusion. So we're going to go to social studies on page 15. Social studies. From spirituality to investing in commodities, studying the socials of society. Okay, studying the socials of society can be a great part of your life. What are the origins of the society of your spiritual/religious system? What was their culture like? What foods did they eat? How was their marriage and family system organized? What languages did they speak? How are your ancestors associated with them? Now, think about current society. Ask yourself those same questions about modern society and compare them to the ancient or past societies. Apply this to your creative writing assignments in the language arts segment. Your research and findings could produce potential solutions for what we face in modern society. So with that being said, we look at different situations that happen in history, whether that's through mainstream taught history or you go through your family lineage. It's very good to have a genealogist in your family bloodline. So, that person who knows all the stories about what happened with the home, with the grandparents, family members, everything like that. You want to have that person to really break down what was going on in the family. And so you have that historian. Okay. You want to know what actually happened. So that way, in everyday life, you'll be able to apply and be like, okay, well, in history, whether your own personal family history or in documented history, this is what was going on. This is how this happened. And how should we interact today? How should things make sense in today's society, in today's civilizations? How does it make sense that this happened previously and we can apply this here today? So your interactions with people and the way that you do things are dramatically shifting based on current everyday society. So an example of that is the internet, right? So the internet was at first just people having their own websites. Then we started having IM, instant messages. Then we had more social media to where not only could you instantly message people, you can now see a whole profile. They are content creators, and now people have made entire careers based off of being content creators. Now, in order to be in business in almost any area, you need to have a personal brand on the internet, on social media. Back in the day, you could just have a stand of oranges and be known as the orange guy. That's still possible today, but now the orange guy needs an Instagram page that says the orange guy. So take your concept of whatever you do in the higher realms of whatever you see in meditation. When you meditate with the celestial beings, whether in the cosmic realms up above or in the water realms down below, what ideals can you take from those realms and apply them to today, considering history of yesteryear? Yes.
Mommy, I am wanting something to eat, like not something And normal, just like something really tasty.
Okay, I'm gonna cook a little bit later, okay?
Yeah.
So, when you factor in what you meditate on, and that's coming from the homeschool kit, so your children need to be involved in that as well. And you heard about the creative writing assignment. Okay, you take into meditation what you're thinking about, whether it's in business, whether it's your idea of a society, a community, whatever the case is, you write it down and then you study the history. And then you go, okay, I can apply this, I can apply that, and I can add this, and I can innovate that. And have that conversation with your children because they're the future. Their imaginations are much more expansive than ours as adults. So, when you prioritize how children see things over your own eye, that helps you do things better when you're talking about innovation. Now, history is not there for you to be stuck in the loop of how things happened before. Yes, you can acquire wisdom from history. However, what is more important is the development, the innovation, the new infrastructure. How do you get that? You communicate with the youth in order to achieve that. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with the same thought processes all the time. And so then you have to move from doing, mental work essentially and applying it to the third dimension. So you write it down, write the vision, make it plain, and you communicate that with others outside of your family. Electric Lady said, greetings, Ellie. Greetings. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time period it is for you, what time zone it is for you. And so, another thing that a lot of people have to really realize is even though we have the internet, okay, things are not to solely be done on the internet alone. Okay, it is not good to only use the internet for achieving whether it's success in your spirituality, your business, or anything. You're supposed to interact with people in the 3D. That's where the majestic meets the matrix. You don't want to stay in your head all the time. You don't want to be on your phone or on your laptop all the time and never integrate that with other people. That is how people get into their own loops and cycles of just having thought processes and not manifesting them into the third dimension. There's a reason that we get downloads from the 5D and then they go through the 4D and then we are the ones who are to integrate them with the 3D. Having friend groups and stuff is cool. However, that group of people needs to, it's not just about meeting in person, it's about building in person. I know people like to take that concept, that terminology, and just kind of twist it for their own narrative. However, in a literal sense, it literally means your ideals that you discuss, you create that in the third dimension together. That's how that works. That's how that goes. It's about ensuring the fact that your conversations don't go to waste. It's cool to talk about the universe. It's cool to talk about if this, if that. It's cool to talk about I do this, if this, and that. But once you work together and you integrate your ideas into physical action together, then they manifest in the third dimension. On top of the fact that you've done research on history and you made the entire process make sense, that idea becomes reality. Okay, you said it's 4:40. You said you're in Memphis? That's dope. Okay. And so it's about keeping your spiritual life first. Okay, and ensuring that you are taking things to the divine, to your spirit team, before you just start doing stuff in the third dimension. Yes, it's fine to experiment and maneuver and just kind of do stuff a little bit. But when you're talking about big projects, when you're talking about meeting people for specific purposes, Yeah, you gotta go to the spirit team first before you just start doing stuff in that aspect. Because this is where you talk about generational changes, infrastructure, innovation. If you're doing social media marketing, okay, that's good and that's great. You could have 1 million followers. If you're not meeting anyone in person, hmm, if you're not creating anything third dimensional that people can take with them, hmm, and your entire existence is on a phone or on a laptop, hmm, it's not much of a legacy. Yes, a digital footprint is permanent. At the same time, anything can happen to your platform, even a website. So, relying on socials and even relying on your own website and not having anything tangible at all for people to take away, that leaves you as a ghost almost. You don't want to be a ghost in people's thoughts. You want to have an impact on them. So if you're in a group chat talking with people about, you know, oh, we should all start a garden together and we should have a homestead together, and everyone just keeps being in that group chat and having their own individual backyard gardens, that's just a waste of a conversation at that point. You all have the resources, you all have the ability, you all have the knowledge and the know-how. But if you don't come together in the third dimension and spiritually connect with each other intentionally first, it's just a waste of a conversation. There's no point in having that conversation. If you have an idea that can help tons of people, whether it doesn't have to be an invention, you don't have to invent something totally new, but it could be a thought process on how to do things. So you can develop a system for how people can do things easier. You could develop or share a way of networking or getting to know people, whatever the case is. Creating an outlet in order for people to learn that from you or to purchase that thing from you, that's what's necessary. Versus just talking about it in your head. You have to integrate these things with a third dimension. 444. We have 4 viewers with 4 likes. Okay, big fours. Big protection out here. Okay, greatly appreciate you. So, honestly, that entire concept can go over people's heads because it's like, well, what's the point? You know, what is this for? You know, I'm just supposed to experience life. I don't want to have so many big goals that I have to achieve all the time. It's not always about having big goals to achieve to put into the third dimension. Sometimes it's really just, can you meditate to the point where you can see your future, not see the future? You know, if you're a prophet or a prophetess, a psychic, and you're able to see the general collective's future, that's different. But in order to see your future and then start implementing and integrating those habits necessary to achieve that future. Okay, this is the hashtag New Age Investing ebook, so we're just going to flip through here. This is Spirituality in Business and Economics. Hilarious. Perfectly aligned. I told y'all, this book is like tarot cards. So if you print it out, you could flip through it. But if not, and you have it on your phone, you could just scroll and stop it on your screen on a random page. Electric Lady said, I'm retired, but still manifesting things. Exactly. It's not about just having a job or a business and feeling like that's the only way that you can, you know, integrate things into the 3D. It can be about community. It can be about family. It can be about whatever aspect of life you're in. Like that, like being retired is prime for like having gardens and having different aspects of creating things like little trinkets or crocheting, sewing, what's it called when you use your knitting, you know, different aspects of things. It's not being stuck and feeling like, oh, okay, well, I'm done with life. No, absolutely not. You can keep creating. You can keep integrating into the third dimension as long as you're leading life spiritually first. Okay, spirituality in business and economics. The saying goes that millionaires study trends and billionaires study astrology. JP Morgan is quoted, millionaires don't need astrologers, but billionaires do. Why would planetary alignments and energies affect business or investment strategies? Our next business moves are more dictated by intuition and instinct rather than step by step plans when in the midst of innovation. Many founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs, CFOs, high level earners are very in tune with spirit and express that their spiritual practice affects their work. Many of these individuals share that meditation is a strong factor in their daily routine along with their diet. These individuals are very conscious of what they consume and how they eat. Veganism, vegetarianism, and pure meats are popular amongst this caliber of beings. They consume high vibrational foods and beverages, producing other high vibrational lifestyle choices. A reading by Dolo the Pilot Man, aka Archangel Uriel, was very prominent for Ellie, aka QBDG. Ellie watched the reading on December 22nd, 2022, and has rewatched a clip frequently until February 20th, 2023, the beginning of Pisces season. She produced a major project and started on a life-changing business strategy with a group of partners. Get in tune with your birth chart and astrological alignments so you can be aware of your shifts energetically. Uphold your health practices as health is your wealth. Peace, Ashe. Electric Lady said, I want to learn about homeschool for my granddaughter. Okay. One guy, he did get the homeschool kit, the other homeschool kit. He got the real estate one for his godson. And so that's specific for learning about real estate and generational wealth. And the hashtag New Age Investing homeschool kit is talking about those similar concepts for financial literacy. It goes into real estate a little bit, but it's more about really the topic of this video, leading life with spirituality in 3D interactions. So it's not just about investing and all these terminologies about money. It's just like, it includes this ebook too. It includes how you can integrate your spirituality while the world is evolving. This ebook is hashtag New Age Investing, exploring traditional investments and their technological advancements in Web3 while you stay in spiritual alignment. The world is changing. Everything is shifting. And so how do you continue being spiritual while all that is happening? You just align with who you are yourself and what your soul purpose is and learn about how these technologies are shifting everything. I didn't talk about AI in this book. However, AI is a huge part of these new technologies as well. I didn't talk about 3D printing, but that's a huge part of these new technologies as well. But learning about Web3, you kind of get into that space of those things anyway. So, that is a huge concept of that. And so even if you don't get my specific homeschool kits, different avenues to integrate your spirituality with the 3D is going to homeschool meetups, going to the library. The libraries always have a whole lot of resources for homeschool families. Of course, you can look online and see what is available for you to just kind of read through, or different videos. I follow different influencers on Instagram. I come across them on TikTok, different homeschool families that share whatever resources they have. There's tons of different authors who have written, whether they're books or ebooks, about their homeschooling experiences. They have different programs online. So I have my 2 kits, and then I don't have a homeschool community specifically. I just cater to spiritual entrepreneurs. So I have that type of community on my website along with real estate professionals. So it's a whole, like, once you get into the space, it's so much available, which is integrating your spirituality with your 3D. It's just about going out there, getting it out of your head, out of your mental space, and integrating it into your 3D actions. And so that's really a beautiful thing to, learn how the systems are actually being controlled. because homeschooling teaches children how to think. It doesn't just give them specific systems to follow. It tells them what the systems are if they would like to utilize those systems for their benefit. That is where a lot of people get things messed up. Homeschooling isn't just kids chilling all day. It's not what that is. That's why most kids who are homeschooled generally are smarter than children who went to public school. It's weird the stigmas that people have of homeschool children. Like I said, most of the time, homeschool kids tend to be a lot more educated, a lot more intellectual than those who went to public school, because that is a system. It's not teaching children how to think. It's giving them materials to memorize that most of the time they're not even going to use in the outside world. Where if we're talking about algebra in the real estate homeschool kit, the algebra is used to have equations to figure out the property values or the capitalization rates of an area or a particular property in real estate. It's not just random numbers. Johnny had 5 apples. Now, and of course, the hashtag New Age Investing homeschool kit is be Johnny had 5 apples. How many apple trees did he plant in order to get 5 apples? You know, it's applicable to those who are gardening, but that's what it is. It's not just an idea. It's about how are you going to physically integrate these things. So those who are more spiritual tend to be more catered towards taking care of the earth. That's why my forum on my website is called Gardeners, Farmers, and Earthers. I could make it all spiritually and woo-woo and stuff, but I'm catering to those who actually take care of the planet and are producing foods necessary for our, of course, growth and health, but to have community there. So you have Johnny who has his apples, and then you have the orange guy. They find each other on Instagram. Boom, now they got apples and oranges. That's the whole point of that. That's networking. So you got spiritual people, you have entrepreneurs. Everybody's an investor. You could partner with a real estate investor and be like, hey, so I have a garden and I would like to expand my agriculture. I don't have all the cash right now, so I would like to work with you. You get the property, or I use your property, basically like a sharecropping setup, and I make this money. You get a return on your investment from my sales. Done deal. It doesn't have to be waiting and waiting and waiting on some sort of magical opportunity to fall out of the sky. Now, things like that can't happen. The likelihood of that happening is not. It's not likely at all. So, being prepared for, of course, anything to happen, at the same time, creating opportunity for yourself in the third dimension. Electric Lady said, okay, thanks, we'll check it out. For sure, for sure. And so, yeah, not going to be before you guys long. Just wanted to give some clear pointers for those of us who are more spiritual and esoteric about things. It's easy to get wrapped up in learning more and more information about spirituality and being like, oh, I've ascended, I've achieved Christ consciousness, and I want to align my chakras even more, and I want to learn about veganism, but not even buy vegan food. Like, you know, it's really easy to watch content creators talk about these topics or watch reactionary content to popular culture or popular topics, mainstream media, mainstream news, seeing all these people talk about this popular topic, seeing all these people talk about this particular concept, and just staying on your phone, staying on your laptop all day, and watching people talk about stuff where you need to turn off the devices and or use them for the purpose necessary. Instead of being in the group chat and talking about homesteading, now you have each other's phone numbers. You're calling each other saying, hey, let's go look at this property. Okay, I have 2,000 saved up. You have 1,000. Okay, cool. All we need is $500 more, and then we'll be fine. We can get this property. You know, we're having conversations like that. We're taking those actions and doing things like that versus just having these mental spaces of thinking that things are just going to happen just because you think about it and you manifest it. Okay, I'm gonna read that after this, but so for example, this week I have opportunities to integrate my thought processes with people in the third dimension. So people who pre-order my book and order my homeschool kit, They are talking to me in the third dimension. I've done some spiritual work for them. Others who participate in the business industry that I've been in for a while, they're having their own books and releasing their own books, having book signings. So I have to interact with people of that caliber so that I can be more in the vibration that I'm already curating for myself. Just associating myself with people who are either more successful than I am and or doing the same things I'm doing. Electric Lady said, like you said, everything is changing fast. And if I knew back then, like I know now, it would have been a different game changer for my kids. But since I know, I want better for my grandbaby. Yeah. Don't want to be on the hamster wheel. Exactly. It's about not being on the hamster wheel and having your own trail as your own free hamster. LALI said, peace, goddess. What's good? What's good? Great afternoon, great evening. So, this is where we are. Of course, you can watch this video at any particular time. However, if you're watching live or if you're catching the replay soon after, we're ending 2023. We're going into 2024. Y'all know what's happening in 2024, okay? Do not get wrapped up in all the weird stuff. I told y'all I'm leaving social media in 2025. I will not be here in 2025. It's going to be so crazy, the stuff people are going to be posting after this political competition. Y'all know what happened last time in 2017 after the 2016 competition. And then y'all know what happened in 2021 after the 2020 political competition. I will not be here to participate in that. I will be fully indulged into my third dimensional life. This internet stuff, can you can always come back to the internet. However, I got my spirituality and I got my 3D life. I don't need this medium of the internet 100% of the time. So for business owners, it's like, oh, well, I need my social media platforms to grow. Once you get to a certain point, okay, look, it's the end of 2023 right now, okay? Logically look at where you want to be by 2025. That may sound far-fetched, but hang with me. You need to be in a position where you can just pay for ads, pay for marketing. And if you're networking, word of mouth. You don't want to be in a place where you have to create content in order to get clientele. You don't want to always have to interact on social media in order to get clientele. Your customers should be able to see your social media and interact with your social media. You need to make sure that your website is up to par so that you can interact with your website exclusively, people on your email list exclusively, people in your network and your community exclusively. So if you have something like a Facebook group, you need to, you can cater maybe to the Facebook group, like specific, communities like that. But it's best to have communities set up on your website, whether that's through a newsletter. I have forums and groups on my website specifically. I have an app. You need to make sure you're adapted for that form. Being on these social media sites during such a polarizing time, it's already polarizing now. But that time period, oh no, I choose not to be here. I will focus only on the life that I'm living and not what narrative social media tries to spin about anything. Electric Lady said, Ellie, I don't blame you. Social media sucks. It can suck when you get sucked into the suck. So that's why I use it for business. I use it to grow my platform and share my own personal narratives, things that make sense, not just make sense to me, things that make sense cosmically, instead of having an opinion about everything all the time. People get wrapped up so much in opinions. And that's not okay. That doesn't make sense. I call it the control system. Hey. Because, you have people who think there's a gender war. It's not a gender war. It's just a lot of things that are exaggerated to make people dislike each other. So, like, for example, of something outside of business. How are you, for masculines who talk about having a legacy? how does it make sense to have a legacy when we have a collective of our males on the internet having arguments about 50-50 in relationships and paying child support? Those conversations just shouldn't exist, logically speaking. While guys are arguing about 50-50 and child support payments, you know, I literally am just like, hey dad, and whatever I need is taken care of. That's legacy. A lot of y'all dudes are weird. There's no reason to argue about your feminine paying 50-50 nor paying child support. You should just be a husband and a father. But because there's so many broken homes, there's such a broken system. Now there's a narrative created around a gender war when people just don't like each other and they don't like themselves. If you want a legacy, that means you desire to be a father and a husband. That's what that means. So you can't say you want a legacy and expect your feminine to pay 50-50 and argue about child support. That's the logic. Now, we're not talking about government issued child support. We're talking about supporting your actual children, making sure that they have everything that they need. That's what it is. But you wouldn't have to think that way if you were genuinely in a relationship with your feminine. You don't have to pay child support when you're in a solid marriage. But people have a broken mindset and concept when it comes to relationships, that they don't associate relationships with marriage and children. The only purpose of a relationship is for marriage and children. It's not for the stuff that people be talking about. It doesn't make logical sense. People get too much into their emotions. Electric Lady said you can't speak freely like you want to. Yeah, that's why I have my own website, because I don't like censoring myself all that much. When Wortman said, peace, goddess. What's good, Win? How you doing? Great afternoon, great evening. And so, yeah. That's it. That's all. And also, like, that's the point for the masculine. So for the feminines, it doesn't make sense to try to keep up on social media or even with, mainstream celebrities, what they look like, how they move, how they appear, how they dress. It doesn't make sense to follow the narrative of that. Sure, they may appear a certain way, but is it healthy? Because, they pay thousands of dollars to their stylists. Do you have thousands of dollars to pay to a stylist for you to look a certain way? No. So while you see them wearing lace fronts and all type of costume type clothing, because that's what it is costume clothing and appearances, you need to make sure that your natural self is taken care of instead of trying to keep up with what these celebrities look like and what they're doing. Electric Lady said, now you said a mouthful. You can't take care of your children, keep your wand in your pants, and not expect for someone else to take care of what you created. Yeah, that's a whole topic that seems to just miss their minds. I don't know. It's always an argument about 50-50 or, yeah, if you can't take care of your children. It's always an argument about 50-50 or paying child support, where it's like, if you were a husband and a father, you wouldn't have to be concerned about 50-50 or paying child support. You just be taking care of your family because you're a husband and a father. So me speaking from that perspective, I don't get what these dudes be talking about. I don't get it. Like, my dad takes care of myself, my siblings, and assists my mother with things. Like, I don't get it. What's there to argue about? But I'm not gonna get into that too much. It'll make him too mad. I'm like, yeah, honestly, I made the connection with certain feminines that are popular and stuff. I was like, yo, I'm low-key a younger version of Sure 7. I just got to get remarried because my first marriage, like, dude just kind of tweaked out. But I'm not gonna get into that too much. But it's just like, I'll be laughing at them. She calls them dusties. I call them woke broke niggas. Because she's speaking to the general masses of black people, where I speak to the spiritual ones. It's like, if you're spiritual, There ain't no way you have that mess up of a thought process. You're supposed to be awakened, right? What did the kings and the emperors and the gods in our past do? What did I just read in the social studies section of this homeschool kit here? You might want to pick it up. Might want to pick it up for you and your feminine. Analyze the successful ways of our past in order to have a successful future. All right. Shalom, unicorns. This was Ellie the Empress here. I will see y'all in the next one. Thawara, and that means thank you in Hebrew.